30 million. Let that number sink in for a second. 30 million is the staggering number of project professionals the world is going to need by the year 2035, according to a recent Global Talent Gap report. It's an absolutely massive figure, and it tells us one very clear thing. We're entering an era of unprecedented global building and infrastructure development. But, having the ambition to build is really only half the battle. Having the personnel to actually execute these plans, well, that's where the real challenge lies.
And that brings us directly to a really telling insight from the latest KPMG Global Construction Survey. You see this tension perfectly captured right here. 71% of industry leaders are highly optimistic about growth, but they are just as cautious about rising delivery risk. We're talking about high-stakes mega projects where a single schedule slip can literally cost millions of dollars. Without the absolutely right tools and the right minds managing them, that delivery risk goes straight through the roof.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are taking on a definitive master study of the exact software that top-tier professionals are using right now to solve these global infrastructure challenges. Oracle Primavera P6. Whether you're already in the project control space or you're just looking to break into it, this is the foundational knowledge you absolutely need. We're going to unpack exactly how this platform tames the chaos of those massive mega projects. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our syllabus for today's masterclass. We'll start with the global talent gap, then move into demystifying Primavera P6. Next, we'll cover the core mechanics, dive into advanced project controls, and wrap it all up with the career ROI. Starting off with Section 1, the global talent gap and that 30 million professional shortfall. Within this 30 million shortfall, the construction sector alone is facing a massive 60 to 66% demand growth over the next decade. And what's really interesting is exactly where this boom is happening. Governments and private sectors worldwide are committing unimaginable budgets to infrastructure. You have the U.S. Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, India's National Infrastructure Pipeline, and massive GCC megaprojects like Saudi Vision 2030. These aren't just local builds. These are complex, multi-billion-dollar initiatives, and almost all of them functionally require proficient project planners to ensure they don't spiral completely out of control. Moving on to Section 2, demystifying Primavera P6, the industry standard software. So, what actually is it? At its core, Primavera P6 EPPM, which stands for Enterprise Project Portfolio Management, is a web-based enterprise-level platform. It's designed for multi-user collaboration and managing resources across an entire organization. Look, this isn't just a basic calendar app. This is a highly robust system that has absolute dominance across heavy industries like construction, oil and gas, aerospace, and defense. It allows teams to optimize limited shared resources and consistently push projects to on-time and on-budget completion. Now, you might be asking, hey, why not just use a standard tool I already know? Well, when we compare Primavera P6 to something like Microsoft Project, the scale becomes immediately apparent. Microsoft Project is fantastic, for sure. It's simpler to learn and perfect for smaller, individual projects. But P6? P6 is built to handle thousands upon thousands of activities, incredibly complex resource pools, and multiple baselines simultaneously in an enterprise-scale environment. Basically, when you're building a nuclear facility or a massive skyscraper, P6 is the heavy machinery you bring in to manage the schedule. Section 3, Master Study of Core Mechanics. Let's look at building that schedule foundation. To really understand the core mechanics, it all starts with structure. Before you can add a single activity, you need a solid framework. The Enterprise Project Structure, or EPS, is the highest level. It allows managers to group and manage multiple different projects across the whole enterprise, like grouping all your high-risk projects or regional builds together. Beneath that, for a specific project, you have the Work Breakdown Structure, or WBS. The WBS is a hierarchical framework that chops a single, massive project into manageable, digestible deliverables. It is essentially the blueprint of your project's scope. Once all your activities are in, the software uses the Critical Path Method, or CPM. P6 executes this through a brilliant three-step mathematical process. First, it does a forward pass to find the absolute earliest times tasks can start and finish. Then, it runs a backward pass to find the latest times they can happen without delaying the whole project. Finally, it calculates float, which is simply the amount of flexibility a task has. Activities with zero float make up your critical path, representing the shortest possible project duration. Seriously, if a critical path task slips by one single day, your entire project slips by one day.
Then we have resource leveling. This is the process of optimizing your resource allocation by adjusting task dates to avoid over-allocation. Let's use a real-world example here. You absolutely do not want a $500 million infrastructure project to grind to a halt just because two different subcontractors are scheduled to use the exact same crane on the exact same Tuesday. Primavera P6 algorithms identify these bottlenecks for you and help adjust dates within permissible limits to keep everything moving smoothly.
And this brilliantly illustrates one of P6's most powerful features, baselining. Once your initial schedule is perfect, you baseline it. This creates a frozen reference point of your original plan. As the real work begins, and inevitably things change, the baseline acts as the ultimate truth teller. You are constantly comparing your actual real-world progress against this frozen blueprint to accurately track scope changes, delays, and overall performance.
All right, Section 4, Advanced Project Controls. Let's get into EVM and risk management.
Mastering these advanced controls is what truly sets senior planning engineers apart, and a major part of this is earned value management, or EVM. Think of EVM as the ultimate health check for your project. Instead of just looking at the calendar or the bank account in isolation, EVM integrates scope, schedule, and cost into readable metrics. By tracking planned value, earned value, and actual cost, P6 calculates indices like the Cost Performance Index and Schedule Performance Index. A quick glance at these numbers tells a project manager exactly if they are bleeding money or losing time, which allows for immediate corrective action.
Advanced planners also utilize the Primavera Risk Analysis module. You start with a risk register to document potential pitfalls, but the real magic happens with Monte Carlo simulations. P6 can run thousands of iterations of your project schedule with variable parameters to predict outcomes. It tells you the mathematical likelihood of actually finishing on time and within budget, presenting this data through really powerful visual tools like tornado diagrams and S-curves to help prioritize response efforts. And speaking of visual tools, time-scaled logic diagrams, or TSLDs, are total lifesavers on complex builds. They visually represent the logical relationships and dependencies of your tasks right on a clear timeline. These diagrams help managers instantly identify schedule bottlenecks. But maybe more importantly, they are incredible for communicating highly complex technical plans to non-technical stakeholders, ensuring everyone from the site foreman to the core investors actually understands the sequence of work.
Finally, Section 5, the Career ROI, Certifications and Global Demand. Look, mastering this software isn't just about making better spreadsheets, it's about making a massive leap in your professional trajectory. Take a look at the diverse, highly sought-after job titles that actively require Primavera P6 proficiency. We are talking about planning engineers, project controls engineers, master schedulers, and PMO analysts. There's even a growing niche for Primavera P6 trainers. Many major contractors and government agencies list Primavera P6 proficiency as a strict mandatory requirement just to get past their corporate applicant tracking systems. So, the crucial point is really highlighted by the massive global salary premium P6 schedulers command. In the US, average salaries for P6 schedulers range from $96,000 to well over $130,000 a year. Over in the UK, senior roles push past £61,000. In the Gulf region, where mega projects are just booming right now, planning engineers pull in 15,000 to 30,000 dirhams a month. And in India, certified engineers can see up to 15 lakhs per annum. Mastering this tool fundamentally shifts your earning potential. To truly capitalize on this demand, professionals often target the Oracle 10-1129 exam. This is the official, vendor-specific Primavera P6 EPPM certified professional credential. Passing this 50-question exam is the ultimate resume booster. It provides undeniable, standardized proof to employers that you possess hands-on scheduling competence at an enterprise level. And when you pair a P6 certification with other industry credentials, you become virtually unstoppable in the job market. Combining P6 expertise with a PMP, a certified construction manager credential, or building information modeling competency makes you a highly versatile, deeply valuable asset to any executive team or project management office. We've seen the 30 million person talent gap. We've seen the powerful mechanics of the software itself, and we've seen the incredible career ROI waiting for those who step up to the plate. The global infrastructure boom is already happening, and it relies on precise, masterful scheduling. So the only question left is, are you ready to master the schedule? Thank you for joining me on this master study, and keep learning.